Okay, so I'm continuing on the theme of masculine or at least gender neutral thank you cards, and I'm starting out by picking some scrap paper from my scrap paper bins, which I arrange by color, and getting my supplies together. I'm trying to have a plan in advance. Then I'm die cutting from my various scraps of paper and separating out my little pieces. I am going to make 6 of these, although I'm only going to show you one. So once I've got all my die cuts prepared, I'm going to start by assembling the pizza layer. So on the cheese layer, I'm putting the various little pieces and trying to be kind of random about it. You don't want everything facing the same direction and stuff can overlap, just like a real pizza. I have had this set for a while. It's from My Favorite Things, and I don't believe that there are any pizza sets currently available. I went looking so that I could give you guys a link, and it looks like the food theme that's available for this Father's Day is more about grilling. So I would suggest, if you're interested in the food theme, taking a look at the Brutus Monroe Grill set, which has a similar feel to it. And I've got the name of that set in the description box below. So I'm on a no shopping year, and I'm trying to use what I have, and I encourage you to do the same. So hopefully this will inspire you to get out some older set and use that instead of going shopping, if you are like me on a shopping hiatus. So I'm just putting all the various pieces down. The little piece of green paper that I had to work with, the scrap, wasn't really quite wide enough for the die piece that makes the green pepper rings. So one of my green pepper rings is broken, but I figured that was in keeping with how food actually works, because I certainly break pepper rings or, cut things too small or too large when I'm cooking, so I may as well try to stay realistic with my die cut pieces, since that's what worked with my piece of scrap paper. I don't know that I would put all of these ingredients on a real pizza: green pepper and pineapple and onion and Canadian bacon and pepperoni. But, these are all the pieces that came with the die set, so I'm going to cut all of them and use all of them. Why not? The most important ingredient is pepperoni. That's what I'm putting on last. And the die actually makes a few little indentations in the pepperoni piece as well. So the glue I'm using is Elmer's Extra Strong Glue in a needle nose bottle. I've done an analysis of glue prices, and I do like the glue tubes that come from the various craft brands. They're very nice, but I did the math, and a glue tube from a name brand costs 36 times more than Elmer's glue in a needle nose bottle. So they're nicer, but they're not 36 times nicer. And I've found the Elmer's glue to be perfectly adequate for all of my crafting needs, particularly in a fine tip bottle like this. So that is what I'm using, although I'm definitely going to use up all the glue I have before I go shopping. That's my pledge this year. So now I've got my pizza assembled. I'm going to put it under some paper weights to dry a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So there was a coordinating stamp set that had some punny sentiments, and I'm choosing "I'm so thankful for you and pizza," which is not terribly punny. I think one of the other sentiments was "you have a pizza my heart." There's a pun. So I am going to cut a mask out of a Post-it note to keep from putting plaid over my sentiment. It probably would be okay if there was a plaid pattern right through my sentiment, but I've got Post-it notes and we have the technology, so why not? I'm using some Altenew Crimson dye ink for a nice bright red color. And I'm just going to cut that little strip right out of my Post-it note to use as the mask. There is purpose-made masking paper, obviously, for crafts. And if I were doing something more involved that involved like a shape, trying to create a scene card, I might go for purpose-made masking paper, or at least a full adhesive Post-it note. But that little strip of adhesive on the top of a Post-it note was really just perfect for this sentiment. Did the job. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just layering my stamp right over the place where the mask is, and I'm going to pick up the clear stamp on my stamping platform and stamp it down in that spot that I picked out. before moving on to creating my checked background. I really wanted a buffalo plaid background, kind of like an Italian restaurant tablecloth might be, but I did not have a buffalo check stamp, and I didn't have any buffalo check paper, so I'm using what I have. Now I'm making a little bit of a corner out of the discarded piece of paper that I got from cutting that die. I'm taking out my foam insert that I don't need for a rubber stamp, and getting everything lined up to prepare to stamp. I'm going to put my rubber stamp down over the background so that it lines up. And I do recommend, if you're going to do something like this, cutting the die piece before doing the stamping, because if you're anything like me, the stamping would never come out anything resembling straight if you stamp first and then die cut. So there's that. So taking off the mask and kept that spot nice and clean. Now I'm going to clean up all the ink with my car chamois. Not quite as nice as a purpose-made craft chamois, but they are cheap, and everything in my humid climate tends to mildew, so these I don't feel bad about throwing away every couple months. So I've got my stamp background, I've got my die cut. I'm going to put all of this on a Neenah Desert Storm background. I did not cut these myself. I actually order these cut from the paper mill store, which is a big time saver. But you really do have to be doing volume in order to make that worthwhile, because the order minimums are pretty high. So visit me at papercraftcrystal.com for more information. Thanks.